Congratulations back at you, Glenn Clark.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Better
Let,
week 2 for me.
yep. Let's recap quickly before we move on. It's hard to believe the weeks go by so fast. It's already the third week of the season. You snap our fingers and it'll be Thanksgiving, Glenn. We'll
This is actually when my anxiety starts to kick in. This is what makes me a weirdo, Stan. Well, a lot of things make me a weirdo, but among them is it only takes me about 3 weeks into the season to realize that, like, oh no, the football season is going to be gone, and then it's just going to be cold and miserable, and we're going to have nothing to do for a little while.
Right. Last week, Glenn and I went the opposite way. Week 1, I went 2-1. Glenn went 1-2. This past week, we both had the Ravens minus 11.5 over the Browns. I don't think it was exactly the way we planned it to be.
No,
we still got the win as the Ravens won 41-17 over the Browns. Glenn had his lock winner, Cincinnati, minus 3.5, and they won by 4 points over Jacksonville.
So that was hairy. I actually gave up on that one and assumed it was a loss as soon as Joe Burrow got hurt.
Yeah, well, once Joe Burrow went down, which is why during our preseason in our picks, our prop bets, I took Baker Mayfield to lead the league in touchdown passes.
I get it.
And I'm feeling pretty good
about
that.
I get it.
Yeah, because Joe Burrow gets injured a lot. You had the Colts as your lock loser, getting 2.5 points. They were
goofiest. Am I allowed to cuss? That was the goofiest shit ever, Stan. What happened at the end of that game? The goofiest. You can feel free
to say. I would never talk.
I know. Will Lutz missing a 40-yarder only to then turn around and have Spencer Schrader win.
Who was favored in that game?
The Broncos were
favored by 2.5.
By 2.5. Yes.
And you took them as your lock loser.
Yes,
the
and
Colts,
they missed a chip shot that would have put them up by 5 at the end of the game. And I'm not. As you can tell, I'm very much over it. Very much over it.
Anyway, my 2 locks were anything but locks. I had Minnesota. I think I went too heavily into the J.J. McCarthy era, and he's injured now. He's going to miss, 3-4 weeks probably?
And the Carson Wentz show moving forward in Minnesota.
Woo. Maybe Kevin O'Connell will be able to bring something out of him.
Got it out of Sam Darnold. Who knows?
Yep. Anyway, and then they got that guy, Daniel Jones, who's playing pretty well they had him. So anyway, Minnesota lost by Atlanta, and we'll see how that plays and factors into my games this week. And the New York Giants, they were plus 4.5. They were my lock loser, and they covered, losing by 3 points to the Dallas Cowboys. So after 2 weeks, the bottom line is the folks at Problem Gamblers and the Costas Inn are sponsoring a dead tie right now.
That's correct. 3-3.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about...
If you or a loved one has a gambling problem, then you should call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit helpmygamblingproblem.org for free, confidential, very important confidential services. And Stan, we, of course, love the Costas Inn.
Oh, we love it, and we love it times 2 now because they got 2 great locations. The old location, been there 54 years at 4100 North Point Boulevard. That's where you got to go if you're still interested in steamed crabs, and frankly, who isn't all year long? So they'll do bang-up business there at North Point Boulevard. But the new location, high atop the grandstand, right next to the OTB at Timonium Racecourse at the Maryland State Fairgrounds. They are open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner, and it's just a terrific place. And there's parking as you pull up to it. There's parking, and then if you go past the building, there's parking and a brand new elevator up that takes you up there. And there's an older elevator. I don't mean they don't have one, but easy to get into once you know the routine at the new Costas Inn.
All right, let's get into it. We'll begin.
We're picking, and by the way, I found my paddle at home.
Oh, how about that? Look at that. Well, you know what? Actually, so it's interesting you bring that up, Stan. We did not have a Lions paddle here at the office, so I had to make one. And as I was making the paddle, I
To
thought
be honest, you did a much better job than
I
Jim.
didn't watch. I did not. I did not do a much better job. That's not what happened here.
So
But
if you don't like the Lions, you're not going to show the Raven paddle. You're just going to have.
yeah,
that.
I can let it fall down. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's-
No, while I was at it, I was like, I don't know. It's the 30th season of Ravens football. Maybe for this week we'll have some fun and go with the old school
Ooh,
throwback.
Ooh.
Please don't sue me. Flying
Yeah.
bee helmet to
I have no idea
recognize.
what that is for.
Yeah, not familiar with that one at all.
I want no parts of trademark violation.
I think we found out later that that's actually no longer a trademark violation.
Okay,
so
good.
We're all right. Also, there's no corporate sponsor on the on that, so we're okay.
Not yet. Not
Yeah,
yet.
right. We'll work on it. So there you go. For this week only, I'm going with the throwback to celebrate.
All right.
30
So
seasons.
I don't have a Lions placard. So if I don't like the Ravens, I'll just go like that.
Yep, absolutely.
How's that?
All right.
Okay.
So Monday nights here in Baltimore, Ravens 5.5-point favorites against the Detroit Lions. Stan in 3, 2, 1, and
Okay.
all right.
We're in the opposite ends of the spectrum. Why don't you go first?
Yeah.
Because it's your week to go first.
Yeah, this is my bullishness about Lamar Jackson against the NFC. I mean, that's entirely what this is. I get it. The Lions put up 50 points in week 2. To be fair, they didn't look quite as good in week 1. I love the Lions. I think the Lions are great, but I will always take Lamar Jackson and less than a touchdown. Lamar Jackson against the NFC. I get it. The Eagles did beat him last year and sort of ended the utter dominance, but I don't think that Jared Goff is the same as Jalen Hurts. I like the Ravens against less mobile quarterbacks, and I really like Lamar Jackson against the NFC. So that's the reason why I'm sticking with the Ravens here.
Well, I'm going to make it clear. I think the Ravens will eke out a fairly high-scoring affair. I think they'll win the football game, but I think 5.5 is a little steep the way the Ravens defense is playing right now. Yeah, they were better, but against the Browns and the Bills, but that's understandable because of the difference of the talent of the two teams. I think Jared Goff will be able to put up enough points to keep this game close. I think the Ravens will score in the 30s. It could be like 33-28, something like that, 33-30. But I like the Ravens to win the game. But I think the 5.5 number is a little too high for my blood. Right.
All right. We will see. It's going to be a difference for us unless somehow the Ravens win exactly by 5.5 points, and then it's a push, and then none of this matters.
It's going to be very difficult.
It would be historic if that were to be the case.
Yeah.
All right, Stan. I had first pick this week, and so
you stole my pick.
Well, I know you just talked about how much you love the guy. The New York Jets this week will turn to Tyrod Taylor as their quarterback, former Ravens legend Tyrod Taylor, with Justin Fields sidelined due to a concussion. And the Buccaneers didn't look perfect the other night. They had to rally. Obviously, they did look flawless on that final drive. That final drive was outstanding.
It was a thing of beauty, wasn't it?
To beat the Texans. But the Jets, I just don't see even the explosiveness they found week 1 against the Steelers with Justin Fields. I don't see them replicating that with Tyrod Taylor now well into his 30s. So I do like the Buccaneers to cover the 6.5, less than a touchdown against the Jets at home on Sunday. The Buccaneers are my lock winner.
Glenn, I'm not usually a stickler for this, but when Houston ran that touchdown in with like 2:50 to go or something, didn't you think that they should have almost stopped at the maybe at the
tried to use some
line.
more time there?
Yeah. I thought they gave Baker Mayfield.
Well, Stan, it's so weird now the way that football works is like there's almost this flip side argument of like, well, you don't want to, you want to give yourself some more time on the other side. Like you might get the ball back again, and you don't want to take away time from yourself. I think the killer thing there was I don't know how you felt, but immediately when they didn't get the 2, I thought they were in trouble. I thought that it really was going to come down to that they needed to get the 2-point conversion in that spot. They didn't get it.
That fourth down run by Baker Mayfield was a thing of beauty.
Fourth and 10, no doubt.
Yeah. All right. My lock winner this week, because you took Tampa, my lock winner is the Seattle Seahawks, which that game is now 7.5 points.
Yes.
It went up 0.5 point. It's being played in Seattle. I don't understand how a team travels from West Coast to East Coast in a tough place. Granted, the Steelers are not the Steelers from 5 or 10 years ago, but it's a tough building to play in. They were 0-1 going in there, and they pull out a fairly easy victory against Pittsburgh. And again, Pittsburgh not great, but they come home and they're playing the New Orleans Saints, who are 0-2. I don't quite get why this is a 7-point or 7.5 now.
Yeah.
I guess Spencer Rattler has been somewhat impressive, but I just think this is a very tough spot for Spencer Rattler and the New Orleans Saints in the early days of the new regime there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's so early in the NFL season. It's still hard to have these huge numbers. It's weird. We saw some in week 1, right? Like in week 1, we saw a bunch of really big numbers. And then the weeks that followed, we were like reminded, no, this is the NFL. You're not supposed to have those huge spreads. So like, for example, this week, the only game with a double-digit spread is the Thursday night game. So I think that's really just what it is it's the NFL. It's hard early on in the season to have those big numbers. I don't disagree with you inherently that the Seahawks should be at least a touchdown better, but goofy things happen, man. Goofy things happen in the NFL.
Who's your lock loser, Glenn?
My lock loser for the first time, I'm not going with a dog. I'm going with a favorite as my lock loser because I just don't know why the Jaguars are favorites in any game at this point. And I get the Texans are 0-2 to start the season, but they're 0-2 in 2 close games against good teams. I think there's some dramatic overreaction in setting this line. The Jaguars just lost a game last week where they didn't even go up against Joe Burrow in the second half of the game, and they still lost the game last week. I get that the Texans don't look overwhelming, but I still think from a talent perspective, they are a better football team than the Jacksonville Jaguars are. When I saw this game, it was actually up at 2.5, and that was why I really liked it.
Yeah.
I don't love that it came down to 1.5 because now I'm essentially saying I think the Texans are going to win outright. But part of this is I just don't believe that the Jaguars deserve to be favored in an NFL game against anybody until they prove otherwise. So I'm going with the Jaguars as my lock loser as favorites at home against the Texans.
And they are favored by 1.5?
1.5.
Okay.
Jaguars are favored by.
All right. My lock.
Yes, technically, if they win by 1, I'm still good here. If they win 21-20, I'm still all right.
My lock loser is a team that I involved in the game, that the team I bet against last week. I was very impressed with the way that Atlanta came out and really just kicked some ass in Minnesota. I was very impressed with Michael Penix and Bijan Robinson. I thought had a really, really big game. I don't understand why this. Again, you're right. The numbers aren't big this week. The Cleveland game, Green Bay's an 8.5-point favorite in Cleveland. To me, Atlanta beat the heck out of Minnesota last week, and I can't see any way that they don't. And they were a 4.5-point dog last week, weren't they? In Minnesota, 3.5 points.
3.5 points. I think that's right.
3.5. Now they're a 5-point favorite over Carolina. I think this is an easy double-digit victory for the Atlanta Falcons. I like what Rasheem Morris is doing right now.
I like it, but I like that, but I don't know. They didn't score a touchdown until very late against the Vikings. That's interesting. That is interesting. We will see how it plays out. All right,
the Vikings have a fairly good defense.
I do think they have a good defense.
Yeah,
I do agree with
Carolina, not known for their defense.
Not known for much of anything. That's where they're at. All right, Stan, you want to recap?
Let's recap it. Again, Glenn and I are both 3-3 after 2 weeks of the season. We are brought to you again by the folks at Problem Gambling. And what's that phone number, Glenn, for
One
confidential
800
help?
1-800-GAMBLER. Helpmygamblingproblem.org.
All right, we're also brought to you by the Costas Inn ×2, North Point Boulevard, the old location for steamed crabs, the rest of the Costas menu for lunch and dinner at the new location at the Timonium Fairgrounds this week. Glenn and I are diverging for the first time this season on the Ravens. Glenn likes the Ravens to cover 5.5 points over the Lions on Monday Night Football at M&T Bank Stadium. I think it's a little too high. I like the Ravens to win the game by 2 or 3 points at home on Monday night, but 5.5 was a little too steep for me. Glenn's lock winner this week, he stole from me because it was his week to pick first. He likes the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home, -6.5 over the New York Jets, who will play without Jordan Fields at quarterback. They'll play with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback, and Glenn thinks the Buccaneers are worthy of that 6.5 points, and I agree with them. My lock winners, the Seattle Seahawks. They are now favored by 7.5 at home over the 0-2 New Orleans Saints. I was impressed the way Seattle traveled across country and took care of business. Was that game at 1 o'clock or at 4 o'clock?
That was a 1 o'clock game. Yeah,
it was a 1 o'clock. I was very impressed with the way they handled the Steelers pretty well. Lock loser category. Glenn is for the first time taking a favorite as his lock loser. Jacksonville is favored by 1.5. Glenn thinks Houston will win the game outright and thinks that the spread is really the opposite way it should be. And probably, don't you think Houston should be like a 2.5?
If Houston was a 1.5 point favorite, I'd stay away from this game. But it's just the nature of I don't like the Jaguars being favored. I don't like it.
Yeah. My lock loser is the Carolina Panthers getting 5.5 points against the Atlanta Falcons, who are playing some pretty good football in the early going. I was impressed with the way Atlanta went into Minnesota on a Monday night. Was it a Monday night or Sunday night?
It was Sunday night, yeah.
Sunday night, and just really kicked butt the first half. I mean, really tore the defensive line apart and ran the ball down their throat. Also, I'm impressed with the way, and I heard the statistics that Troy Aikman was talking about, or Chris Collinsworth was talking about how quick Penix is at getting rid of the ball. That's an important trait to have, and that's who I like.
All right. Very good, Stan. We will see you tomorrow for Glenn Clark Radio. Look forward to that.
And special guest Monday, Ross Grimsley will join me on the regular show.
Mm-hmm.
Luke's going to take the week off. We're going to have in BJ Surhoff.
Oh, very cool.
Talk about the 25th anniversary of Pathfinders for Autism.
Excellent.
And all the great work he's done. And we'll get a little baseball talk in there, too.
Sounds great. All right, Stan. Appreciate you.
Thank you, buddy.